Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is August 24th, Thursday, and the final week of the solo adventure for, Knights of the Frozen Throne unlocked. I very easily beat the Lich King with my Murloc deck, and then you have to beat him with each of the other characters, and so 2 out of the 9 character classes I succeeded on, and the rest of them are so full of cheating and so difficult that I imagine it's going to take me close to the next expansion, if not further. I have made it up to rank 13 as far as the chest. Unfortunately, I've fallen down to rank 15, and I'm stuck there where you can't lose any more stars until the end of the month. So I would like to get up to at least rank 16 and then maybe stop. Right now I need to play warrior class cards, demons, and paladin class cards, and this whole thing is becoming very common now. I don't know why. I don't know why this is the new thing. Let's check the shop for a second and just see if anything secretly disappeared or appeared. Nope. Okay, 15 demons. Not a problem. Do I have the Demon Renounce deck? No, I don't. Discard Warlock. We're at rank 20 here, so ideally I'd want to get up to rank 15 on Wild too. But in general, I suppose I just want to play the cards and maybe get a few ranked plays. I've started to see a flow of people that have tweeted to Hearthstone saying they've gotten 500 ranked wins for all 9 of the characters, which means 9 times 500, you're talking 4,500 ranked victories since you started playing the game in beta, or they started letting people play the game in beta. That's a lot. That's a lot of Hearthstone.
Your soul shall be mine.
So I think this is demon, so I'm gonna hold on to the demon card. I wrote down the news last night, so there is reason to. There's news to cover. I didn't think I was particularly even gonna have time to cover it. Not really being certain how it was gonna work. I thought I would get trapped into playing the Lich King, and I technically still am trapped into playing the Lich King if I want to unlock the hero frame, but otherwise I think I'm fine. Let's just do this. And nope, I didn't even play right there. So we've got a little bit of news. Gamescom is not turning out a ton of news, though. It seems like Gamescom is just kind of the Central European equivalent of PAX, and PAX, I believe, at least one of them is only a couple weeks away, and I don't imagine there's gonna be another any games. I don't think any games will get announced at PAX, really. So news that I can directly attribute to that is pretty lax. However, I've got a mostly full whiteboard, which for this time of year is probably the best I can hope for. This was the demon I needed a while ago. Destroy a friendly minion in game +2/+2. And see, you have to do it.
Relax. It's a party.
So, he kind of sucks. So, first bit of news, and we'll just try to rush through this. And if people want to play me, let me know in the chat. Let's try to get all the daily quests done. We're close to having 1,000 gold again. So, 10 of the 100 card packs I'd prefer to have by the next expansion. Still definitely a lot of work that needs to be done, but we've also got a lot of time to re-energize our treasury, my treasury. So there was this game called Sky Saga Infinite Isles. It looks a little Minecrafty, and it was apparently announced sometime in the past 4 years, because it's been in 4 years in development, and it is now completely canceled, and potentially everybody that was working in the company to make that game is potentially about to get fired and laid off. Laid off being they don't need you, but you're not really getting fired for doing something wrong. It's just that the company did something wrong and they can't continue to employ you. And what the company did wrong in this case, besides a very general mistake in my opinion of early announcing a game that they weren't ready to really release.
I'll find it.
Is they failed to have to renew their contract with the publisher that was paying them to make this game.
A paltry task.
So the publisher was funding Sky Sagas. The publisher said, no, forget it, we're not giving you any more money. It must really have been a troubled development, or some kind of tax haven scheme or something. If that's the only two reasons I could see, you would have a publisher totally pull out and not try to do something different. Either have the rights revert back to the publisher and have a different company make the game, or have the code and the assets liquidated or sold. In the end, I suppose it may turn out that the programmers, developers of the game go bankrupt, and then in the bankruptcy sales to recoup any money against debtors, the publisher might buy the rights and the code, but definitely a lack of confidence and a lack of desire to work with them, and very possibly for good reasons. Also said, I just earlier today watched the the Hearthstone animated Pixar-esque cartoon commercial that they've come out with. They're definitely learning from some of the stuff that they did with Overwatch. Unfortunately, I think in both cases probably, but I'm not an expert in Overwatch, I haven't played it. But in this case, they're trying to bring in like a child audience with this girl and singing and dancing and a little mouse character to play Hearthstone, and there's really nothing in Hearthstone that makes it a child-friendly game. Like, I don't think they'd be very happy with it after a while. having to do all the setup, having to really struggle to get any cards, really struggle to get up in ranked play, really struggle to do anything, to even be able to afford arenas. There is no child section, there is no easy section. Hearthstone is not like Pokemon, the card game, the Pokemon trading card game, where things are moderately easier and not as varied. There's a lot of math, there's a lot of calculation, and just a lot of general losing, even if it's not your fault that you lost.
Just one more.
I guess speaking of losing, even though if it's not my fault, I should probably turn on this, which will mess up, I imagine. Let's see. This always messes up. What is this? Why is this like this? Come on. Why? Why all of a sudden is this thing not wanting to work? We did just get an update.
Almost out of time.
You are not the boss of me.
Just one more.
Marty's is on the chat. He's asking, is week 3 available in Europe? I am not in Europe, so I can't really testify to that, but my guess is probably not. Not quite. I would bet it's in 16 minutes, because that would be 4 hours difference. But my math could be totally wrong on all of that.
Who dares summon me? A paltry task.
Kill that. That. There we go. My recommendation for people would be go check it out and see if that's the case. Like, let's see, messing with this. Transform, fit to screen. Transform, edit transform. Seriously. Come over here. Size 19. Scale to no bounds. Stretch to bounds. Scale to inner bounds. Just reset. Close. Well, that's just not gonna work. How about we turn off this and instead do this. And we'll just use that for now. That solves that problem, at least until I have somebody. And then I forgot to start my counter, so who knows how long we've been streaming, probably 15 minutes. Yeah, and everybody's gonna be interested in playing the Lich King, at least getting that free card pack. So I bet nobody's gonna want to do friendly games. Also, it's close to the end of the month, so nobody's gonna want to do anything for that either. Let's just move on with the news then. Recore Definitive Edition, I talked about that last time we did the news. It is going to be a free upgrade and expansion for current owners, so all those poor suckers that bought that game or pre-ordered it or paid full value for a game that probably is barely worth $20, they're going to get some recourse there, maybe not much. Like, I really don't think I didn't mean to make a pun there, recourse and recore, but I imagine the game's not going to be that much greater than it was. If it is, then that kind of is just even sadder a story. Moving on, according to a job listing, NBC Universal is getting into video games, or perhaps more accurate to say, it's getting more into video games. NBC Universal has partnered with other people to have a couple Law and Order CSI type games made by people. There was a Law and Order Telltale game that I recently played that sucked. Perhaps just in general because I feel that way in general because Law and Order I don't feel is that good of a show. So yeah, NBC Universal, it's not CBS, so it's not the Star Trek. Mostly I looked at all of their subsidiaries for NBC Universal, and mostly what I could guess, and my speculation is that they want to make video games based on DreamWorks properties, so the animated videos, movies. That would be where I would put my money. And okay, that kind of makes sense. It makes some mobile games, makes some cross promotion. I doubt NBC Universal in the next 5 to 10 years though will become anything big with any games that are really worth mentioning or worth playing. Might be interesting, but then again, do we really want something that is very possibly just going to be the exact same or worse than the EAs, the Ubisofts, and the other horrible mega corporation video game companies we have? Atlas, the Japanese game publisher, that I think they develop a couple of games too. They made Catherine, I think, has established a European publishing division, which is a good sign because that tells me that another Japanese company is now going to consider publishing more games in English, and in Europe in particular. So Atlas already had an American publishing division, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to see more and more come out of them, depending. Now, no guarantee that those games are going to be all great. It may just be a lot more visual novels. But for the people that like visual novels, they will be happily served. Here's an interesting story as we're going through this. The director and chief technical officer has resigned / stepped down to become this new title that that really seems like it's kind of just a made-up title, called the Prime Advisor. And I think if I was to guess, I think he's probably been put in the doghouse and they're trying to get rid of him, but they really couldn't do that, and so they give him a non-job. The job description is that he's going to find new developers, and instead of directing and being in charge of making games, he's going to advise new developers. There might be some health issue that they're not saying here too that would maybe make some sense. His name is Tomonobu Itagaki. His company is what was it called? I didn't write the name of the company. It was, I believe, Visual Studios. No, it was Valhalla Game Studios, which is hard to even Google. You have to type in Game Studios, otherwise you'll get the Valhalla game that's available on Steam. And there was controversy where their trademark and their name looked too much like Valhalla movies, or Valhalla Studios too. Valhalla Game Studios is probably best known for its 3 games that it's made, for the very awful Wii game called Devil's Third that was just like one of the worst reviewed games ever. It's not even so bad that it's worth mentioning. It's not a Duke Nukem Forever situation. It's a bad Wii game. But there's been a lot of time since Devil's Third came out and this announcement, so I imagine that's not the only reason that this is happening. It doesn't really sound like a good thing to me, but they're trying to spin it like a good thing. Japan has really tight employment contracts, so it's hard to fire somebody, and it is hard to get them to quit because they've been trained and educated through society that to never quit, that you literally get a job and you work there for your entire adult life until you retire. And it allows all sorts of abuses by the employer because they'll just take it. And one of the abuses that often happens is they're put in roles that are well beneath them. They're put in rooms and told to do monotonous tasks. Konami, in particular, has all kinds of horror stories of forcing high-level employees to work in factories or in their exercise clubs, fitness centers, and just trying to get rid of people, trying to get people to quit, making people miserable, which doesn't help Japan at all. It's a terrible system. It makes people miserable, and miserable people don't want to innovate or create anything new. They don't want to to have families that don't want to do anything with, and it just drives up the suicide rate, frankly. It would be better, in my opinion, for them to have just a socially acceptable and very helpful and supportive unemployment or basic universal income at this point. Makes a lot of sense, and just let these people leave the bad situation that they're in. Let's see. Call of Duty World War II beta will be on PC. Apparently there was some question there. I guess maybe the last Call of Duty beta was only Xbox. I would assume maybe it was PlayStation. But they're saying it's on PC. Start your turn, transform a random minion into a 1/1 chicken. Alright, well, let's not let that survive.
Relax, it's a party.
The Crew 2 is coming out March 26th, 2018 in 3 editions. The Crew 2 is a land, sea, air racing game. It looks kind of cool, but this announcement pretty much determined I probably won't play it anytime soon. The 3 editions, this is Ubisoft all over it, but maybe EA did this, start at $70, so $10 more than what you'd normally expect. As the cheapest, this is a Ubisoft thing. I wrote that down. And then I think the next one is $100, and I didn't even catch what the third one was, so I imagine that's even more expensive.
You are not the boss of me.
Let's see. We're gonna have to get rid of this. Redemption.
Just one more.
So yeah, I don't think people should probably play the Crew for $70 out of the gate in 3 different editions and all kinds of collectibles, and probably has a season pass, probably is going to have DLC. It's Ubisoft we're talking about here. They're going to ruin the game before it even comes out by putting these anchors, these albatrosses around its neck, just trying to squeeze more money out of the consumer. In a surprising twist, which might at some point convince me to actually purchase Gwent and play it, they're going to add a single player campaign later this year, and they're adding an esports league in September, which I don't particularly care about that, but let's see. Start by killing that. And
As the master wishes.
just attack the face. Yeah, a single player campaign, kind of probably not too far off of the solo adventures that we were doing just earlier today, is something slightly interesting, because remember, this is CD Projekt Red that's going to be in charge of that story, and they do sometimes do some compelling story in their games. That certainly made Witcher 3 a lot more playable, is the fact that there was story and interaction and characters worth knowing.
Reporting for duty.
In a little bit of YouTube news, I By the way, I turned in another survey. I don't know why they ask me to do surveys so often or at all. I really reamed them on what they've been doing in about the past year of just how I don't like what they've been doing. But they've announced an easier / maybe better to use blur faces tool. So instead of having to draw a box around people's faces, now it tells you, look, we've identified these people in your video. Click on the box on the picture of the people you want blurred, and then you can watch it and see if it's accurate enough for you. It's no guarantee of 100% accuracy, but what really is, it's probably more than good enough. I wouldn't be surprised that as they're developing the blur faces tool, there will be eventually some reason, because either like Europe tells them they have to take down videos that have people that in videos they don't want to be in, or instead of doing that they'll say no, but we'll blow your face, because Europe in particular has some really heavy privacy concerns and laws, and I imagine there are certain people that are trying to have YouTube videos taken down, and so this might be a counter protection against that. My only real concern is that as they implement new things on YouTube, they often get rid of the old things first, and then the new thing doesn't quite have the same abilities that the old thing did. Let's just play this now. Let's double check to make sure Paladin cards are the ones we needed to play. Yeah. Hopefully this Paladin deck is full of enough Paladin cards that we can get that done in 2 or 3 games. So if they get rid of, say, the blurring tool that's not the faces blurring tool, because they said, oh well, most people are just using the face blurring tool and not the rest of it, that's a bit of a problem for me. I actually do use YouTube's blurring tool, and let's not forget they shut down already their video editing tool, so this is yet another one of those video editing functions that I'm losing, or I'm gonna have to go find some really easy to use software that ideally wouldn't have to render forever, because I don't have the time and equipment for that. Like, that's the worst case scenario, is if I have to have a secondary computer where I copy over a 5 GB file, spend potentially 4 to 8 hours on a video making sure it has a blur on it, and then an overnight to ensure it renders. That's a lot of extra work when YouTube already has a function there. And I don't have to use the blurring tool too often, but when I have to use it, I have to use it, otherwise I'm in danger of getting my entire channel suspended for not family-friendly content.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Skip that. And that. I also was finally allowed into the YouTube Video Manager beta. I looked around. Some of the things, a lot of things are different of the things that are there, but there's only, I would say, 3 major things there. In a lot of ways, it's not incredibly helpful changes, but some of them look better and might be a little bit quicker. It's missing some of the things I would have hoped that they would add, and it's missing tons of things that already exist. So calling it a beta is factually inaccurate. It is an alpha because it is not feature complete. Also, it didn't work on my higher resolution, higher dots per inch monitor. The screen, I had to zoom the screen down to like 75% to be able to see everything.
Give it a shot.
And so yeah, I looked at it for about 5 minutes. Looked at all the options. They're trying to make improvements. They need a lot more.
Do you hear
though.
its call?
The game Fe is coming out to the Switch, which okay, is Ori and the Blind Forest on the Switch? Would be a question to ask in that scenario.
Reporting for duty.
I'll give it a shot.
Back.
Not playing a ton of Warlock cards here. Ruiner is coming out September 26th. We're hitting that point where I need to start saying September 26th, 2017, because there is a good chance that somebody would announce a game from a year away. And see, we're about halfway through the news right now. The developer of What Remains of Edith Finch wanted Weird Al Yankovic to be in the game and have a song. Which, okay. Give a friendly minute.
Your peace.
+2.
I'll give it a shot.
Reporting for duty. The battle.
Back.
There we go. That's kind of a weird one, but it would have been really cool too. Now, if I'm recalling things correctly, Weird Al has just never really been into video games. He's kind of a... I don't want to say simple, but
Let's show our guests.
I know he's a vegan. He just doesn't talk a lot about it. I know he has a wife and daughter, and he doesn't really talk about it. Private would be the right phrase to say. He is kind of a private person, and I suppose he might work for a video game, but in his entire career, he hasn't up to this point. And that probably says something. He's, I imagine, rather busy too. So maybe in the next project we will see the developer of What Remains of Edith Finch actually getting his wish and having Weird Al write a song or voice act in a game. It wouldn't be a terrible idea from him. Like, he's been singing for a long time, and he's probably getting older and older. So taking voice acting gigs, just to voice act his character, and then allowing somebody to animate his face so he can look younger wouldn't be bad. In an interesting twist, considering I thought the Dying Light developers were really just focusing on making more Dying Light, and I didn't expect them to announce anything else, even which is kind of weird in itself, because Dying Light's an old enough game that they could have said, it's done. We succeeded. Everybody liked it well enough. Let's move on to the next thing, and just go into development mode and not talk to anybody for years. Instead of doing that, they've announced that they've got this new game coming out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and PC in 2018 called God's Trigger, which is a top-down shooter, sword swinger game that, like Smash TV, looks pretty fast-paced and pretty cool looking for fans of that style of game, which I'm willing to give it a try. We have a new person on the chat called Sorshin. He said nope a few minutes ago. I don't know what he's saying nope to, if he wants to be more specific, because there is a delay. Well, that's certainly not gonna get me any paladin. I'm gonna have to get rid of this custom paladin, which I was trying to use to beat the Lich King, and let's just make the cheapest paladin card we can make. Paladin deck. Sebastian says hi. People may have a few people may have figured this out, but I was able to put in custom codes in my Nightbot mod, and so when people type in hi or hello, the Nightbot will automatically respond to you and say hello back to you. That is not exactly probably what everybody wants, but it's also possibly the best that I can do. I can say hi back in the stream after a little bit of delay, but I can't get into the chat and type hello back. I wish Nightbot could respond as me, but that's really what bot should be able to do, is it should be able to, as me, say hello. But at the very least, that's it. Sebastian says your Nightbot is dope, bro. I think it is. I was able to put some funny Easter eggs in it and have it do a couple of interesting things. It's very beta. There's certain other things it could do that I probably won't use too often, and there's other things that it should do that it isn't quite ready for. But the idea of running a secret music playlist is kind of cool. It saves me from having to play music in the background and get content ID'd, copyright claimed, while still having people, if they want to listen to music, being able to do that and listen kind of as a group, and the group can make requests too, and then every 30 minutes it's supposed to just point people to the subscribe button in case there any of the many other places where the subscribe button is prevalent. YouTube also on my phone changed to let's see, might as well just play cards. That's all I'm trying to do. So YouTube has implemented its new messaging service, share service. I'm not sure exactly how or what. It seems to be its own separate thing. So you have to invite people into it, and then it's kind of like a Facebook Messenger type thing, it seems.
Reporting for duty.
Adapt a friendly minion. There you go. Give him taunt.
For justice.
So maybe that messaging service will work for viewers in YouTube. I don't know. The one thing that the update to the mobile app has done in an interesting way has sneakily put your subscriptions button in the middle. So no longer is trending the focus and the middle button. So if you just from touch memory are used to hitting the middle thing and going to trending, now you're going to hit the middle thing and go to subscriptions, which as a creator I think is the right thing to do. But YouTube swears up and down that every time they push more people to look at subscriptions, they get bored and don't stay on the channel on YouTube as long. It's very possible. I mean, I have a lot of subscriptions and there's still not quite enough content to keep me watching all day. I often go back to YouTube and there's just nothing new. But if I go to the recommendations, it will start recommending other things. Let's just adapt. +3 attack.
To battle. For justice.
Fire Emblem Wars, to get back to news, is coming to the Switch and 3DS in October 30th in Europe, the fall in North America, they don't have a specific date, and September 28th in Japan. So here's a Japanese release, and Fire Emblem Warriors, I believe, is Nintendo, if I'm remembering correctly. And they're just releasing this game whenever they feel like it in different regions for kind of no real reason. That's pretty crazy. But it gets a little bit even crazier because the next news story I have is .hack/GU Last Recode is coming out for the PlayStation 4 and PC, and that clearly isn't Nintendo this time. And that game is coming out November 3rd in North and South America and Central America, so all of the Americas. And the 1st in Japan, and then the fall in Europe. So, two Japanese companies consistently not interested in having a consistent release schedule. The one thing that is in their mind is they will always release first in Japan because that's really all they care about. I talked about it before, but Hearthstone has issued its first multiplayer raid via Tavern Brawl against a Lich King with 999,999 health. At least that's what he started with.
Reporting for duty. To battle.
And then every time you take him down health, he's a little bit weaker for the next round of players. And then we talked about the animated short a couple times already. Like, I wish they would make the game more kid-friendly, not make a kid-friendly animation for a game that I really wouldn't let my kids play. I'd be like, okay, you can play this, but you're going to get frustrated.
Reporting for duty.
Try something easier. Let's see. That one's already been talked about. Not very video game related, but Toshiba has released 8 terabyte hard drives that are available for sale for $270 each. That's a lot of money, but I have some 500 gigabyte hard drives that would be very nicely replaced in a RAID array with 8 terabytes, and I'm potentially running out of space. I'm not sure if it's because I'm running out of space of backups or if I'm running out of space of videos. And I'm in a weird position where YouTube, I wouldn't be surprised if they came back at some point and said, look, you've got way more videos than the average YouTuber. We're going to put a limit here. We're going to say you can't have any more videos. You can't upload things. If that was the case, like, I don't know what I do then. I guess I have to go back and download the old ones and back them up to hard drives and make sure. Delete them off YouTube. Like, if they said that, I don't think they would do that, but if they ever did implement some rule like that, I am probably one of the first people that's going to be affected by it. And they might go the other way, though, and they might say, look, all you people who aren't partnered and aren't making us any money need to get off YouTube. YouTube was never intended to be for, I don't even know if this is true, but they might claim YouTube was never intended to be for just people to publish, to put up videos to share with their family. And so if they said that, they still might kick me out, though, because as I am happily approaching 200 subscribers, I'm not at that 1,000 subscriber super chat limit that I'd like to be at. Turns out super chat, by the way, YouTube takes 30% of that, so I don't even know if I'd bother to implement that. I probably still would. Honestly, if people wanted to give me donations, the best thing they could do is direct message me on Twitter, Steam keys, or friend me on Steam and give me games that way. Like, having me have more games eliminates the major expense on my channel, and it also stops people from having to really put a credit card or anything in a unfamiliar website. The creators of Ni no Kuni, as Ni no Kuni 2 is coming out, have teased that Ni no Kuni 1 might come out for PC. It kind of has to if they want to make any sales on PC for Ni no Kuni 2. Like, you're not going to get a ton of people to buy it if they can't have the previous ones. But I'm seeing more and more issues of games not being available for purchase on Steam, and it really sucks. Like Dead Space 3, gonna have to go to EA Origins. So many Origin services. I think I'm gonna end up Uplay services. It's gonna suck. I wish they would give up on all of those. Interesting twist, I suppose, here. I didn't see it coming. Bandai Namco has partnered with Don't Nod for a new narrative adventure game. Don't Nod is the creators of Life is Strange. Now, I think Bandai Namco probably already partnered with Don't Nod and Life is Strange, because Life is Strange has a commercial for Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Is Final Fantasy made by Bandai Namco? Is the question.
The light shall bring victory. I will fight.
No, I don't think it is, but there is some connection there. So yeah, the Don't Nod is gonna make a new narrative adventure game. Hopefully they write better to something they know. The writers of Don't Nod being two Canadian middle-aged men instead of writing a game that was an homage to Twin Peaks and starred a teenage girl in a special photography school, high-end private school. Like, there was a lot of weirdness there. A lot of weirdness. Just setting it in Montana or in the United States made it feel weird.
Reporting for duty.
They might as well have. They probably should have set it in Canada. We don't have too many games set in Canada. Yeah, why not? Let's have more games in Canada. If there's a lot of game programmers in Canada and voice actors in Canada, a lot of TV and movies filmed in Canada, so just give up the pretense. Wind Fury.
The battle! The battle! The battle!
And let's see. We only have a couple more things to talk about on the nose. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash is coming out September 26th in North America. It is a Splatoon-like game, water squirtle game with ninja girls, kind of, with big boobs. I would not heavily focus on the ninja part of that. It's just mostly girls, big boobs. Senran Kagura is managing to be a very successful series of games. They sell well enough, and they don't seem like they cost too much to make. Particularly since it's probably just the same 3D models reused over and over again. But it's coming over to America, which is also a little surprising. We're seeing more of that. And then finally, Bubsy is coming back. I don't know if he's really a beloved video game character mascot, but he's coming back in Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back October 31st. And he will be on the PlayStation 4 and Steam. So getting an old school platformer coming back is gonna be tough. We've already seen like Yooka-Laylee tried to do it and didn't really succeed, and several other people have tried to act or create games in the spirit and fashion of those old games, and they haven't really succeeded. But maybe Bubsy will be the one that actually does it.
The battle.
Give me another card.
The battle. Reporting for duty. For justice. Job's done.
There we
Not
go.
quite what was planned.
Keep on playing these cards. The daily quests for this collection, this 3 days, I don't know. This run might be the best thing to call it. Not too difficult, so we'll get the North American done, and then we'll just see if we can move over to the European and Asian, and see if we can get those done too. I don't know when we're gonna go in the game post show. I started a little bit earlier, but I am also kind of out of stuff to talk about, and this is not a particularly good day to stream. Too many people are playing the game themselves instead of being a little bored with the game and wanting to watch other people play.
Let me change your mind.
Clean off my whiteboard. I didn't even clean it off last time. I just wrote the news over it, and hopefully that won't change anything or make it more difficult. The worst part of that is bumping it with your hand and then potentially having ink on your hand.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
Well played.
Yeah, I think in perspectives, there's really no reason to make 3 recordings today. I should think about these things before and have a firm answer, not discuss it in public, but maybe I'll just make 2 recordings. We need to end the recording here, and we'll make one more where we kind of just talk and relax. I suppose I could talk about Dead Space. I'm playing Dead Space a little bit. Not that I have a ton to say. Let's see, I need 10 more paladins cards, and I need 30 warrior cards, and then I'm done with the daily quests, and I'll be over 1,000, which is 1/10 of the way I would like to be by the next expansion, so I could get 100 card packs. 100 card packs seemed like the right amount. Ad revenue not high enough yet that I would. It has gone up, certainly a lot, but not a ton. It went up from being about 50 cents every rolling 7 days to now about $2, so 4 times. Still needs to be about, I would say, minimum 100 times bigger than that for this to be a livable wage and a realistic amount of income. But it's growing. So if I have about 200 subscribers, going up to 2,000, 20,000, that would be about where I'd like to get. That's my guesstimate, at least. Anyways, stay tuned if you're watching live. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.